I'm wondering, this is a hair sort of thing and decisions that you chose with hair, which I think were absolutely humongous. And I don't know what kind of feedback you got from it, but from the outside looking in, I was like, this is almost like revolutionary in a really powerful way. Can you speak to this at all?
Yeah, it's really interesting because, you think about it now, and it's so common to see a Black woman on TV wearing her hair.
It's a little more, but I don't think it's on the number one TV show 6 years in a row. You have a sister front and center who is natural.
They were not doing that before then.
No.
And what I really appreciated was that when I started the show, I had just a year or two before cut all the perm out, relaxer out of my hair.
Okay.
And so I had this natural hair and I had a little bit of this curly bun going on when we did the audition.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I changed my hair up and got like these really like what Jamaicans would call like natty looking braids that just look kind of undone, but they're cool. They look very bohemian. And I remember emailing my team and saying, well, I have my hair like this now. You think I should like send them a picture or do something to let them know? And they were like, you might want to take them out or put your hair back the way it was or let them know. And I remember thinking to myself, let me just show up and see what they say. You never know.
Can always take them out.
Yeah.
You never
always
change your hair.
Right. I was like, you never know. And, if somebody says something, then I say something. But if nobody, So I remember walking into the read-through and they were like 3 execs from NBC. And they saw me like, oh, your hair looks really nice. And that was it. Okay. And I remember for me, every light said go after that. It was never, every light to me in my head was like, go, just keep going, And so I made it, the commitment was to like, what is a real Black woman in these United States of America?
Yeah.
What does that look like that we haven't seen? So what aspects of that haven't we seen that we all know about,
Absolutely.
But maybe, the world at large doesn't know about? And one of the things that is such a big deal is Black women's hair.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm just going to be real about whatever that is. And so we change it up a lot. Especially when it's natural, you just do that.
Yeah.
And we do go to work in these corporate jobs, and if we don't, we should be able to. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, I'm just gonna do that in like this little quiet corner of this Beth world and just let that be. But in my mind, that's all it was. It was like, I'm just going to be authentic to that.
Yeah.
I had no clue what the effect, that impact.
What was
Were those conversations you were having with hair and makeup?
No.
Just like,
let's
try this. Let's try this.
And for the first season, I did my own hair for the most part because we didn't have anyone on set yet who was able to.
We had a few conversations about this in the trailer.
Yes. No one was able to do natural hair to my hair and keep it healthy and do all the things. Like I was like, so I went, and I don't know how this stuff goes, right? But I just always learn, well, you ask the people who run everything. You know what I mean? So I put the email and just all the top executives. So I was like, Dan, Jess, Michael, right? I said, I just want to be able to walk. Essentially, I want to be able to walk into a trailer, and if my hair is wet, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I want to be able to walk in like anybody else can walk in and get my hair done from start to finish and not feel like I had to stay up an extra hour and a half at night to set it to come to work.
Yeah,
and so
100%.
And so we did that, and to their absolute credit, it was like, and you will have it. You know what I mean? There was not a blink of an eye. Michael Rice was the dopest. He was like, I will keep bringing in folks until you, head of hair. He was like, I will keep bringing in folks. He had people get their union card on the show so that they could do my hair on that show. And then I will never forget when I saw an anchor woman on CNN or something with braids in their hair, and I'd never seen that before. And I was like, oh, look at what, now, other people were doing this by this point on TV. But like, when I started to see that, I was like, all right, the power of like what visibility and like showing who we are can do and what it normalizes and what it gives people the freedom to do. And you know, you have people getting kicked out of school and off of sports teams because of their hair. You have little girls being suspended and, you know, teachers going in and cutting off their hair in, you know, while they're at school.
Yes,
you know, and they have to make laws to allow people to wear their hair the way it grows out of their head naturally. You have to create a law around it. Yeah, I'm gonna do my little thing, my little part in making sure we understand that it's just what it is. You know what I mean? And so that is part of the privilege of getting to do what we do. It's like also reminding ourselves, like, what else can we take into this with us that liberates, you know what I mean?
It is also a testimony to the environment in which we work that you could talk to Dan and Jess and Michael and be heard.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Dan started to tell me, he was like, I just knew, because I was going hard with it at one point. And like, I was like, okay, now we're going to have a break going this way, but on this side is Afro Puff. You know what I mean? Like, it was a lot. And I remember Dan saying, and somebody was saying to me, I remember at one point, somebody on my team at one point was like, when you go on red carpets, try to wear your hair all the same because people don't know you yet and they want to be able to like recognize you.
Oh my goodness.
And
that's a common
thing. I never did it. And guess what? People recognize me for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, you got to go with like what you know and like what's in your heart and like what comes to you authentically. But I remember Dan said to me one time when he's editing, he's like, you know, Sue, every time I'm in an editing room, I'm always like, I can't wait to see what Sue's hair looks like this week. And I thought, well, how amazing is it to have, you know, El Jefe.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Go like, yo, I'm just down with whatever you're doing. Yeah. You know, it's all good. It's not getting in our way in any way, you know? And that's the kind of show we had, man. Like people were listening. They wanted to know what your true life experience was so that we could bring it to this.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.